Hello everyone, welcome back to a new YouTube cast. Today we're going to be having a look at a best of 5 series between Skillous and Stephano, also known as Stephano, of course, our French Zerg player, the old legend who still plays, hasn't been doing as well anymore as he did back in the day, but still a force to be reckoned with as always. We see a 15 hatch coming down for Stephano, manages to block the block. Sounds a bit weird. What is this guy doing? That has to be a misrally, right? You're not supposed to have this this worker down here. I can ensure you that. You just have a standard gate into gas here on the way for Skillous. Now this is a map where there's a lot of things possible. And I personally am a big fan of the Glaive Adept build on this map. The problem is if you don't get the block off initially, do you really want to be getting into a Glaive Adept attack afterwards? Glaive Adept is very reliant on the first two bases being spread out. Because what you want to do with the Glaive Adept is, imagine there's 3 bases here, right? Zerg has their main base over here, and then their natural base gets taken here. That means there's going to be a lot of drones mining from this base. So that means that there's 2 areas. The key areas to defend are this area and this area. Now, if you shade into the main from this position and then walk into this area, either the drones will die or they need to be pulled away, or most likely they'll die if you don't have units in position or you can't stop the toss from moving there. Now imagine that you just get the natural down at a normal spot. The moment toss shades into the main and then tries to walk in here, it's a lot easier for Zerg because the distance between this and this is way shorter. And that's why a lot of the time we see that natural block, and it really helps a lot for the Glaive player. It's way harder for Zerg to defend. So I'd be surprised if we still see a Glaive push. Now I say that, and we do see a Twilight Council on the way. This could just be for a Dark Templar drop as well, of course. Difficult to say sometimes what it's going to be for. Here we have an Adept moving across the map. Ooh, that's an interesting shade. I think that might have been a misclick because he immediately runs it back. Oh, gets around as well. The micro of Stephano is so good. He has so many cool little tricks that he uses, or cool little controls that he does and uses. I think he's quite a good player still. Of course, not the Stephano of old that would win every single tournament without really practicing. Probably having a couple of beers before his matches, but he's still quite high level for sure. Now we have a Dark Shrine on the way here for Skillous, so I'm wondering if this is a response to not being able to get that hatch block in. Rather than getting those glaives, he now will be getting a Dark Shrine. This seems like a very late Adept. If I was Stephano, I would not fall for this, I think. Like it feels too late, no? Like these gateways should be able to warp in before this Adept finishes. That's actually going to be pretty close. It's like 4 or 5 seconds. This gateway is also too late. So it's not even going to be that obvious here for Stephano. It's going to warp in 2 more Adepts. Wait, he lost the first Adept. He's still going to warp in 2 more Adepts. Move across the map with the Prism and 3 Adepts. Now, this is a build that is on face value is just it's a bad build at face value. Like if you look at it, this build can be a lot better by cutting these 2 extra Adepts. Instead of having 3 gate, you get 4 gate, faster gases. The thing is that these 3 Adepts make the Zerg believe that indeed you are playing a Glaive Adept build, while in reality you're playing Dark Shrine. So it adds a bit of a trick into that build order. Now Stephano has been tricked 1 too many times, so already has a Spore ready in the natural, in the 3rd, and is getting one in the main base as well, as a layer is on the way too. So not very great. He's not completely in position, but still gonna be in a good enough position to only lose 3 drones or 5 drones go down. Okay, that's definitely not ideal against the DT opener. Especially because I feel like majority of the kills there came from those 3 Adepts that shaded in. A bit of a sloppy defense here, but 8 more drones are on the way. Blink, Immortals, and a Forge. 2 extra gateways starting as well. As over here we have a decent amount of links. It's going to be able to deny this third base, at least for now. Evo chamber is on the way for Stephano as well, and he's taking an extra gas, so we'll be going up to 3 gases. Yes, these links spotting for any potential third bases. Most of the time we're gonna see a third base in the triangle formation. So this is the main, this is the natural, and this is the holy. Oh no, wait, that's the third base location. The Holy Trinity. Now we have a bunch of links once again. Come on, my god, sniping the probe for a second time. It's gonna be very frustrating here for Skillous to deal with, and it feels almost like he's being not forced, but he's getting nudged in the direction of an all-in, right? Every time this probe gets sniped, it's like, oh, that's another 15 to 20 second delay. Yeah, here we go. 3 more gateways are going down. I'm not sure if this was the plan initially, but this is definitely this is to be expected. If you're Stephano, you can be like, alright, I now sniped that probe a couple of times, perhaps, you know, perhaps he's gonna all-in me. It's a real possibility. So there's 2 Immortals out. This Archon Arrest has been doing a little bit of damage, but where units lost is relatively even still. So I think this is okay. Big oversupply here for Stephano. We'll be going up to, what was it gonna be, 196? Like 108 out of, oh sorry, 186. Counting has never been my best subject in school. Fair, it isn't really a subject in school, counting, but I guess that's a discussion for another day. We have a bunch of links dying for free in the middle of the map. Stephano only on 50 workers, so even though I feel like he'd been doing well sniping that probe a couple of times, his worker production has been pretty mediocre. He's focusing a lot on getting more roaches out. And funnily enough, this is one of those things where if Skillous just decides to go back home right now, he's gonna be in a completely fine spot. Because he actually has 58 workers, he has a battery. He needs to be in position for this push though. There's a lot of roaches, there's a lot of ravagers here as well. You're gonna see some biles on top of this adapt. +1 has finished here for Stephano as well. So biles on this ramp, making it difficult for Skillous to defend with this ramp here. So it's really helping Stephano, but I feel like he might just not have enough units here. There's a couple of roach and ravagers coming from the left side. Won't be able to do much. Cybercore does go down, gateway goes down, bit of a roach run by. Blinks here by Skillous. Biles hit a lot of stalkers right there, and these roaches are going to be able to kill those stalkers pretty soon, I believe. Could send a couple of links there, 1 or 2 more roaches. Would really help Stephano's case here. Good ramp control with those biles on the ramp. Needs to make sure that Skillous can never really come up there. A little slow with the biles on it. I wouldn't mind 1 or 2 preemptive biles. Or just always have 1 bile active here in the middle of the ramp. It would make it so much harder. The army splits aren't that great here by Stephano. I feel like he would have done a lot more damage into the natural already. We see more and more roaches are streaming in, but the longer this goes on, the closer we get to +2 damage. More Immortals are being pumped out. There is a couple of roaches, or a couple of stalkers and zealots behind the mineral line as well. 2 Archons trying to come from the back, picking up some reinforcements, mainly links. 1 Archon dies, 2nd Archon dies as well. Sloppy play there coming out of Skillous. This base might just die. He should refill some biles on it if he's gonna be fighting there with his ravagers. Is there charge done? No, charge is not done yet. Natural dies here for Skillous, so Stephano putting himself into a very good position here. Still needs to do more though, at least that's what it feels like. I mean, 48 workers against 59. Skillous is trying to move down a little bit of a flank. 4 Immortals are on the map. +2 is about to finish. I don't think Skillous should be chasing that. I think he should be waiting for his +2, and then he can consider chasing. We're gonna see some decent blinks out of Skillous, and Stephano leaves. At least for now, no. Turns around, tries to throw a couple of biles for zoning purposes. We see a blink forward, snipes out 2. Maybe even 3 ravagers. I didn't quite see that properly. gas supply is evening up. +2 has finished at this point, and Stephano just took a little too long to deal the damage that he wanted to do. He did get that Nexus in the end, but you can see the income is still pretty even. +2 is finished now. There's no Banelings, there's not a high link counter, which is just going to be Ravager Roach for now. Okay, I think Stephano is in a little bit of trouble here. This creep spread isn't too hot either. There's no forward base for him, still on 49 workers. Which really just means that he's still pretty much all in, and he continues building more and more links. No drones on the way as of yet. Lingron by coming into that natural base, but there's a cannon there, a couple of warp, and should be able to deal with this rather easily. Is there a cannon in the main? No, there's not. Maybe a DT and a Zealot Warpin or something like that will be able to deal with this. A lot of probes are actually going down. Here comes a Warpin. Robobay on the way. I think an Immortal just died. That's a good pickup there for Stephano. He's getting very close to +1 melee, but still no forward base, still no extra workers. And even though he's hanging on for nothing. You know, there's no goal here for him. Like, the longer the game goes on, the worse it gets for him. He needs to get something in terms of economy, but every single time we see more links, we see more roaches, we see more ravagers, and we don't see no fourth base. We don't see no drones. Disruptor on the way now for Skillous as well as Charge. We'll be able to help deal with those ravagers, especially of creep. Both Charge and Disruptor are very, very good against ravagers, because ravagers are, first of all, they feel pretty slow and not that easy to split. So Disruptor balls usually get the 2 or 3 just by default. As we see armor on the way here for Skillous, who decides that rather than getting +3 attack, he wants to get armor. I'm not quite sure about that. This is an army that mainly is focused around being able to deal damage, not really tank damage, right? Like, you can negate some damage by blinking back and you can micro well, but mainly you're going to be hitting them from a distance. So I feel like attack damage is more important, but Skillous, of course, is allowed to have a different opinion on that. Single Disruptor into Colossi, no, double Disruptor, excuse me, into Colossi. We have a lot of Banelings here moving into that third base. Not quite sure what Stephano's plan is here. I think what Stephano wants is that Skillous attacks into him, but Skillous isn't dumb. He's like, you know, I know what you're doing. I'm just gonna sit back. As long as I don't see a lot of workers, as long as I don't see a hive and extra gases, I mean, what really is a reason for me to attack you? Ooh, actually Skillous being caught out of position a little bit. These Banelings could have been going into the mineral line. I feel like that could have been a real nice play, but instead we're gonna see them roll into Stalkers. Big Disruptor hits a lot here. And I think with this Colossus, double Colossi production at this point, Thermal Lance is on the way. 5 workers have gone down. Yeah, I'm not quite sure if that's gonna be enough here, honestly. This is looking pretty dicey. Good Disruptor while moving forward, gets a couple of roaches. Good Baneling run by there. Didn't really achieve much. Oh, but the Banelings from the back do get 15 workers. Now this is a mediocrely big deal, where if Stephano actually managed to catch a decent engagement here, he might be in a good spot, but I don't think the engagement is quite good enough. We see 2 Disruptors still in the prison. There's 3 Colossi out at this point. Range is about to finish. And I feel like Stephano just too focused on killing. I feel like just sprinkling in a drone here or there. Really just, yeah, here we go. Finally some extra drones being produced. He's getting +2 melee attack, but I think it might just be a little bit too late at this point. I mean, Skillous is moving out on the map right now, realizing he only has 52 workers. Retaking one of his gases. It is just a Stalker Colossi army. There's still actually a couple of Disruptors as well. 27 Banelings with +2. Oh, big Disruptor hit, gets 2 Ravagers. That's good stuff here for Skillous. Is there an Observer on the way? No, it's a little bit disappointing, honestly. It would be nice to be able to clear to clear that creep. Interesting blink forward, but I don't think it matters too much. 19 more workers have gone down on the other side of the map, and all of a sudden Skill is actually really all in, but his army is so big. Good micros are coming out of Stephano. Blink forward once again. I think this will be it. That final, or that shot of Disruptor will be the final shot of the game. GG gets called, and Stephano loses game number 1. Skillous is up 1-0. Alright, here we are in game number 2 between Stephano and Skillous. On this beautiful map called Death Aura this time. Hopefully Stephano will be able to have a slightly better early to mid game, because it felt like the longer the game went on, the more opportunities he found to actually do damage with good bailing run-bys, but it's just his early game felt so poor that I'm not even quite sure why, because honestly the DT drop didn't do that much damage, right? It killed a couple of workers, but there should be no reason to be that far behind, or as far behind as he was. Especially because he sniped a couple of probes. He delayed the Nexus so far. So I feel like there's something either wrong in his build order, or just he had poor mechanics that last game. I really can't find another reason for that poor of an early game. No, I really can't. Now, this time we do have a Gate Scout coming out of Skillous. We'll be going into a Nexus before Core Esser is very standard in this matchup, of course. Curious to see if we're gonna see another Twilight build here. Twilight builds have not been as popular, unless it's with that initial hatch block. But we don't really see a lot of straight Twilight builds, especially not into Dark Shrine, the way that Skillous did last game without a hatch block. It's just a lot better with that hatch block. It really keeps the dream alive. I think the hatch block scout in general is also better than the gateway scout. So I feel like that would always be recommended in general. But apparently Skillous was not feeling it. Sec goes for a gate scout, and here comes the truth. Straight warp gate. Once again going to be a Twilight or Robo build. In theory it's possible that he plays Stargate as well as a bit of a trick. I mean, he has been showing some tricks, but majority of the time that's not going to be the case. Speed sounds look so silly. Actually not sure what the percentage increase is. I think it's like 50 or something like that. Stalker is on the way, is being chrono boosted. Don't think that got spotted by this Overlord. Ling is gonna try to make its way in, won't work. Ling won't even try to make its way in. Good call. This should not finish. Yeah, okay. I'm glad he didn't finish that. 2 queens on the low ground here. Gonna be able to deal with that adept rather well. Actually have glaives on the way. Oof. 2 gateways will be added, as well as in a second adept, of course. It's all very standard stuff, but I'm not too sure about this. What? We're seeing an Evo chamber here coming out of Stephano. I've seen a lot of things that make no sense, but that really makes no sense. That's really greedy. No info whatsoever, just straight Evo chamber. Now, the reason why this is bad is because the Evo chamber provides no value at holding this glaive adept push. Because if you start a +1 upgrade now, it's gonna be finished like a minute and a half after the glaive adept push hits, which there's no value. So you're spending a drone, you're spending money on the Evo, you're spending money for the upgrade. And it doesn't give you anything in the defense. And the most important thing against the glaive adept build is the defense. So you're just basically investing a lot in something that's not going to help you at any point. He's only now starting his Baning Nest. Holy crap, this is gonna be really rough. I'd love to see a second Spine Crawler here. Just a single Spine Crawler is not gonna do. Once the second Warping... What? He finishes this. That's really good for Stephano actually, because in low numbers, Adepts will trade pretty poor against Lings. You see this, he just lost 7 Adepts and only killed a medium amount of Lings really. Like, this should never be even. Now this is still okay for Skillous, because he can just keep building more and more Adepts, but... Oof. I think the game would have been over if we had waited for one more Warping. Of course, that's always, you know, easy to say. Hindsight is 20/20, but I almost never see people go in with their first shade. It's just not really a thing anymore. Now, don't forget that if you have 7 or more Adepts, you're going to be able to 3-shot Queens. So, he still has 7 alive, it's nice. +1's actually going to be useful this game, I can't believe it. There's another Adept Warping on the way. Oh, he didn't finish that. That's kind of interesting. We have a couple of Adepts shading into the 3rd base. These bad boys are falling right now over here. Drones will end up dying, I think. At least 2-3 drones will go down. No, just a single drone went down here. But about 5 drones went down in the natural as well. So overall, a decent amount of damage is being dealt. +1 is helping out masterfully. These 14 extra Lings are not doing too great. There should have been more drones. Now, usually the barometer on seeing, hey, how well did I do, is to check the units lost. And if that's approximately even and you didn't kill an obscene amount of drones, then usually it's okay for the Zerg. And I think in this case, it's not an obscene amount. Like, it's a lot, but it's not an obscene amount. It's just a decent amount. I think these extra Lings that are being produced are useless though. There should have been more and more drones. Stephano should be at 45 drones already at this point, rather than only at 40-ish. So he is not recovering his drone count as quickly as he should. I like this attack a lot. I do enjoy this. I think this has to be a recall almost. Yeah. Well, almost. That has to be a recall. So this pylon's gonna die. We see more drones on the way. Queens are dealing well with this prism. So that get picked up. Nine more drones on the way, as well as 2 gases. I'd love to see a 4th base start soon. If not, do you want a 4th base against someone that doesn't even have a 3rd yet? Of course, always a bit debatable. Now, we're gonna need to see a Roach Warren being added at some point. Okay, there is a Roach Warren. In that case, we're gonna need to see some roaches being added at some point. I'm not a big fan of attacks like this anymore now, because now you're just running the risk of losing your Lings. And really, it's very obvious to me this is gonna be a push. So, these 8 extra drones, I'm not too sure about those. I think if those were 4 extra drones and 4 roaches already, that would have been okay. But 8 extra, 64 against 49. He's already up 1 upgrade as well. He's getting Baneling speed. Does he have any Ravagers whatsoever? No Ravagers. More Banes are coming in. Does he have Roaches? 4 Roach are on the way, jeez. Without Ravagers, Force Fields are going to be so difficult to fight against. There's a decent amount of them as well. Good start of the fight here for Skillous, who playing this very patiently, but not too passive. Just good, patient Force Fields. These are about to run out. Baning speed is finished as well as +1, of course, so Banelings do a lot of damage. This hatchery falls, even though there's a lot of transfuse energy available. It's a little bit surprising to me. 9, 10 workers are going down. Skillous is actually semi being pushed back here by 5 queens. I really feel like this is super close and should have been in Stephano's favor had he not built those 8 extra drones. So difficult to say though, because if he doesn't build those extra drones, then what's the situation? And when you're not quite sure what's happening, it's always good to just send in an overseer to try and scout what your opponent is doing. But Stephano really has absolutely no idea what was happening in this game, and that's definitely contributing to his problems he's currently seeing. Now there is +1 done. If +1 wasn't done for Toss, I still wouldn't like it for Stephano, but at least he would have a massive upgrade lead, right? He could start +2 and then perhaps with Baneling run-bys would be able to do something. But now Actually, we have a very similar game to the last game where I think Skillous is just kind of far ahead, honestly. Up 10 supply, up 10 workers. We have a couple of adepts in this prism. We have what seems to be a Ling run by, heading towards the bottom side of the map. No blink yet on these stalkers, by the way. 4, 5 probes are going down, or just 4 for now. These adepts are going to be able to get maybe 4 or 5 workers as well, so just trading worker for worker. 9 more workers are on the way here for Stephano. Charge as well as +2 is being built here for Skillous. Disruptors again. I'm not a fan of disruptors in this situation. I think he kind of misread that. I thought he was going to be playing. I think he thought that he was going to be playing against Mass Roach Ravager again, but this should be more Baneling focus with the upgrades that are out. But we actually do see the roaches on the way, and the more roaches are being built, the better these disruptors are. This singular disruptor is, I'm sorry. 4th base is on the way. Here comes the single disruptor drop again. 57 workers still for Stephano. Floating a decent amount of money as well, Stephano is. Same with Skillous actually, but usually TOS has to wait for their warp ins. Yeah, Stephano playing this very sloppily. Maybe not injecting very well. Yeah, he has larva available at least. It's getting some creep spread going as well once again. Yeah, good defense here by Stephano. Knows that the disruptor shot can't kill the queen at once. +2 is about to finish up for both players. Now, I still feel like there's too many roaches in this army. There should be more banelings. Especially done already. We have a run by. 2 adepts shading into the 4th base, or 3rd base, whatever it is. Big disruptor hit. Oh shit, that's 3 Ravagers, 2, 3 roaches. So, very good start of the fight here for Skillous, who's gonna be kiting back a bit. No, just gets another warp in. Still has 3 Archons, 3 Immortals. Here come a bunch of banelings rolling in. I don't think this is quite gonna be it. Good hits though. Next salad warp in is going to be key, as Stephano's actually taking a very good fight. Lots of money in the bank here for Skillous. Immortal, such a strong backbone though, and the moment there's no links or banes with this army, it's getting a little bit rough here for Stephano, I have to admit. Good biles. Yeah, Immortal still gets picked up. I think what Skillous is gonna do now is he's just gonna wait for a bit and then he's gonna go again. Perhaps wait for +3. I mean, he just killed this base. There's absolutely no need for him to keep attacking. He's up a base. He's gonna be up in upgrade soon, and he has a lot of money in the bank that he definitely needs to start spending. 8 Templar are on the way, which is gonna mean 4 Archons. I wouldn't even mind seeing him research Storm, but I also understand why he doesn't. Because he believes he can kill his opponent soon, and I think so too, honestly. I kind of like this disruptor play now. Now that I've seen it so much, he just keeps going around. Every now and then he gets a kill. 12 kills on this already, and don't forget, that's mainly gonna be roaches. Just gets a single baning, right? I mean, it's also value. Stephano deciding he's had enough, makes his way across the map. There's no banelings here. I need to be so careful now with these units. +3 is about to finish up. Blink is on the way as well. A couple of biles raining down. Might be able to hit an observer apparently. Archon's absolutely wrecking these Ravagers, and off of creep, Ravagers running away from Zealots does not really work. Ooh, big disruptor hit coming in. Actually, it's one of his own Zealots as well, but nonetheless, still a good fight. 24 workers have gone down somewhere. Must have been here. So Stephano once again, while stuff is happening, runs by with 3-4 banelings and wipes out an entire mineral line. And I mean, those are good plays, but Stephano needs so much more, right? He's just down 20 supplies, even in workers. He's fighting against someone who's +3. These baneling can actually be good with the Zealots. They are. Good Ravager biles as well, but there's so much Skillous and so little Stephano at this point that But like, no matter how good your micro is, it's gonna be close to impossible to actually win this as the Zerg player. As Skillous moves forward with 7 Archon, 4 Immortals and a Zealot run by. Or no, is there Zealot here? No, there's a Prism, but it's kind of idling at this point. 1900 minerals in the bank. GG gets called. As Stephano does not manage to win game number 2 either, putting Skillous on a match point right now. Alright, game number 3 between Skillous and Stephano on Ice and Chrome. And this is gonna be a banger. I can feel it. Once again a Gateway Scout. Now the Gateway Scout, like I mentioned before, is the scout where you're gonna be absolutely safe against everything. Absolutely safe against everything, so that's why Skillous goes for it. He feels like he's better than Stephano at the moment. Feels like he can beat him in a standard game. And so far so good, right? Too well. 2 different build orders. Let's see if he's gonna be playing something something similar to last game. I mean, last game he once again went for that Twilight build order at fast warp gate. It's completely possible he once again does something from that angle. Also, of course, possible to play something Oracle related. We've been seeing the Oracles make a little bit of a comeback, especially in the European scene. Korean is still mainly focused around those 4 gates and Glaive Adepts, followed up by Dark Shrines, and sometimes not followed up by Dark Shrines. Sometimes just followed up with more Glaive Adepts. It's one of the best builds, most. Glaive Adepts into Glaive Adepts. Into Glaive Adepts and Immortals. It's a good push. It's a good push, I can assure you that. Yeah, once again. Cybercore Resources Warp Gate. Now, gets spotted here by Stephano. Will realize what's going on. Oh, this is going to be a Robo build. Robo builds are always a bit special, honestly. Very reliant on the Zerg making bad reads with the Robo builds, or at least making, the bad reads. I was gonna say insufficiently good, but then I realized that's probably just somewhat of a synonym for bad. So yeah, just honestly a bad read. With 2 queens here, we'll be able to slash this adept away. Is this stalker still in the wall? Robotics facility is up as well. Starting its prism now. Interesting to see. Second gate being built. Let's actually check the gas count. Okay, so he's mining. What the hell is this guy doing? Oh, you lad, back to work. What are you doing, laddie? Get in that gas geyser. Absolutely unbelievable. Finally gets into the gas geyser. I wonder if he's been there from the start. I feel like I saw him before. Now, what is this? Oh, okay, this is not a build order. Now, I'm saying that it is a build order, of course. I've seen this played recently by Showtime versus Bly. This smells like something that Hero used to do. Something similar, at least. So you start with double Adept drop, then you go into double Stargate Phoenix, and then eventually you will go, or I think you get like a bunch of Immortals and you do like a 6-gate push, which is already a surprise, the first 2 Adepts, so sometimes you get like 3-4 kills with those. Then the Phoenixes are definitely a surprise, and then the Immortal Lin is a surprise again, so it's like surprise into surprise. The thing with most surprises is that they're usually not very fun. Isn't it way better to know what's coming rather than be surprised? I think surprises are overrated in modern life. Surprise parties are terrible. If I'd come home after a long day of work, this is a hypothetical because obviously I work from home. Imagine this. I played a long day of tournaments. I streamed, made a couple of YouTube videos, and then there's 9 people hidden in my house, surprising me. Once I come out of my room, I'd be proper pissed. Like, not right now, mate. This is not the time. Like, I want to be able to get ready, you know, for people to annoy me. You can't just show up unannounced and expect me to be happy about it. I'm not even gonna be happy if you show up unannounced. It's terrible. I don't understand what the surprise does that's good for me. I think it's also always the same kind of people that organize the surprise party. It's always the people that organize surprise parties that probably wouldn't want to be surprised either, because they're control freaks, you know. These are the people that always plan everything. Like they manage to somehow behind your back contact all your friends, then get them together in one room, all on the same date. But if you do something like that to them, where you'd blindfold them and then all of a sudden their friends are in the same room, I don't think they'd like it one bit, because they're not in control. It's absolutely terrible. Another thing that's terrible here is that Stephano built way too many roaches. And that there's about 8 phoenixes. Now, one of the properties, the characteristics of the roach, is that they don't shoot up. So they're not very good actually at all against phoenixes. I feel like this game might just be semi-over, honestly. We have 9 phoenixes, no upgrades on the phoenixes. I'll give Stephano that, but he also only has 5 queens, which are all hiding in the natural base right now. That has to be the most pathetic thing. Being a queen and running away from a phoenix. So he's gonna be waiting for hydras to pop, but he just lost 13 workers and he's rebuilding some of them. He's moving across the map with these roaches. Probably trying to get something done, but there's still battery overcharge. There's a couple of units here. There's one immortal as well. Force fields? No. Yes. Do have 1 or 2 force fields here. And these shields getting regions so freaking fast. What the hell? Battery overcharge, what an ability. Second immortal. Is there 2 robos or did he just forget about one? I think he just forgot about one. Now, this queen's gonna end up dying. No. Good response time there by Stephano. Units lost that pretty much tells it till 21 workers have fallen already. 2 overlords, 11 roaches and 1 queen. Muscular Augments is on the way, 11 seconds from finishing right now. There's 6 more gates on the way as well, 10 drones. The problem here for Stephano really is that he doesn't have a saturated fort base yet. And there's an Ursadon blocking his fort base, which I wouldn't be too worried about that. That guy only has 10 HP. 2 drones can kill that, but I mean, your opponent has better production. He has honestly a better army. He still has the ability to deal damage with these phoenixes, which, you know, I don't see any way for Stephano to deal damage this game, except for a straight up attack. So much map control here for Skillous, who, if Skillous just moves across the map, how is Stephano gonna hold? I think that is really the main question on my mind right here. There's 9 phoenixes, there's 13 hydras. What if 9 phoenixes just lift 13 hydras? There's also 5 immortals. Then all of a sudden you have 18 lings, 4 hydras and 1 roach against 5 immortals, 2 archons, and whatever amount of Zada Dwarpins we're gonna get still. Okay, now it's 8 phoenixes. That might change things. But it doesn't. Still looking very, very bad here for Stephano, who yeah, just reacted incorrectly. Too many roaches. Expected some kind of immortal follow-up. But he got surprised. And once again, surprises. Never good. If you're planning a surprise party for your significant other right now, be glad that I told you this. They won't like it. And they might surprise break up with you if you throw them a surprise party. Ta-da! Alright. We have Skillous just moving. A lot of Salash getting killed by Bane. It actually was kind of bad. A lot of the phoenixes have died as well. Good kiting, good micro by Stephano, but there's just so many units here for Skillous, honestly. I just don't see a way for Stephano to win this. As Skillous marches forward here to claim his 3-0 win against this legend of old, this mythical French creature. Who is definitely gonna fall right now as a new Zada Dwarpin runs in. There's still 4 immortals dishing out damage. +2 is about to be done. Fort base has finished as well. This is This must be so sad for Stephano to see. If you go into the replay and you see, oh wait a second, he had a 4th base, 8 gas on the way. It's not like this was it. He had a lot more where this was coming from. 10 Marcellus being warped in. Stephano tries to stay in for as long as possible. And I think this might be the... Yeah, this might be it. GG, exclamation mark, gets called by Stephano, and Skillous wins this game, or this series, 3-0. Now, if you did like this series, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to smash the like button as well. Helps a lot. Thank you all for watching. Bye bye.